What's up, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Duran Duran. I'm very excited. We're going to start going through a new album, though it is not one I've got the physical copy of yet. I am going to get it eventually, but once again, shout out to Philip, who's given me access to all the Duran Duran albums and a number of bonus tracks. So yeah, massive shout out to Philip. We're going to start going through Liberty. Wanted to also give a shout out to Ron. It's funny, he's mentioned on a couple occasions that he's not a huge fan of the album, but he's asked me about when I'm going to react to it, I think more than anybody else. There's a couple other people who have mentioned it and said, you know, they were looking forward to going through that one, but again, it's sort of a funny anecdote or side note to me that Ron has been asking me about the album more than anyone else, even though he has indicated he's not fond of it, so we'll have to see. I think a number of you have mentioned also that this album has a bit more of a rock feel. I think I'm remembering that right. Obviously, we're going to find out, but to the best of my recollection, I think a couple of you mentioned it has a bit more of a rock feel compared to Big Thing, which I think was the album right before it. So yeah, I'm excited to go through it. We'll have to see what it sounds like. Very much looking forward to a new Duran Duran journey after finishing a number of them recently. So the first tune on the album is called Violence of Summer, and then parenthetically, Love's Taking Over. So it does seem to be a very juxtaposed title. You know, the violence of summer. Obviously, violence might not be physical violence. It can manifest in different ways, and indeed, emotional violence is a phrase that has been used to great effect by another group from the UK. I won't mention them here because I believe it's blasphemous, shall we say. But yeah, ultimately, I do think the concept of violence of summer could relate to, you know, what happens between people maybe during summertime, like when you're necessarily perhaps with a little bit more free time, you know, whether not even if you're just a student, but you know, as people get older, they still often take vacations during summer, so perhaps it could be a seasonal thing. It could be, you know, summer more conceptually during, you know, like a bright and sunny time of your life, but then, you know, it seems offset or contradicted by violence of summer. So yeah, it could manifest a few different ways, but setting that against Love's Taking Over, which sounds like a more positive thing, you know, and in fact it sounds maybe not even necessarily as something between people, like a couple individuals, you know, an intimate or romantic relationship, or even just sort of like a friendship. It sounds more like a social or cultural phenomenon. You know, love is taking over, it's spreading from person to person and, you know, across the nation and so on. So that part of the phrase, it gives a more sort of optimistic or like emotionally positive sort of feel. So violence of summer, love's taking over. There is a sort of oxymoronical or contradictory nature to that, which I enjoy. You know, some of the best art, whether you're talking poetry or film or so on, they, you know, can present themes that seem at odds with each other, but somehow, you know, it works, or it's the contradiction itself which leads to sort of emotional or intellectual understanding. So let's get to it. This is Duran Duran, Violence of Summer, Love's Taking Over, on their, is it 1990? I believe it's 1990. I do apologize. I should do these things in advance, but you know, you're trying to do a lot of videos and it just, yes, 1990. Okay, so as I said, this is Duran Duran from Liberty, their 1990 album, Violence of Summer, Love's Taking Over. I did not expect a piano intro.
Hey, pick it up.
Okay.
Let's get you out of your head.
Sounds very synth-pop to me. Maybe I'm misremembering. Singing with a bit of energy, a bit of grit. Waka waka waka.
Keep it up.
Waka waka waka.
That's right. Here we go again. Been later, I'm gonna run into a roundabout.
Ooh, like the bass.
While other
Flared out.
heads in the sugar shack.
Sugar Shack? Good grammar use, by the way. Yeah, the vocals are good here. I do like the sort of supplementary keys. I like this part a lot too. Electric funky. Digital mouse. Those little guitar stems. Covers, not undercover. Love that little deep percussive warble. Like this in that, yeah, like space ambient from the 70s, like John Siri or something like that. Yeah, very cool. Look, I'll be interested to see how the album plays out, given that, you know, by this time I've heard, you know, from different people about different albums and so on. But it was a cool start, but clearly I'm like either misremembering that comment that, oh, this is a more rock-based album, or, you know, this tune is maybe somewhat anomalous compared to the majority of the album. But yeah, like, I thought I had remembered people saying that it was a more rock-oriented album, but that song felt like a, you know, early 90s synth-pop tune, like different from their synth-pop from the early 80s, but, you know, it had keyboards and it had that sort of just kind of like real catchy kind of groove. So yeah, to me it sounded, you know, like a synth-pop Duran track. But like I said, maybe I'm misremembering, or maybe this tune is different from other tracks on the record. But yeah, it was an enjoyable start. I'm not really close to penetrating the lyrics. I did pick up on some lines there, but there was a lot going on and I'm not yet able to stitch it together, so I'll have to give it some more listens. I do think Simon's vocal performance stood out to me. Again, like, I noticed right away that he was singing with a bit of energy, a bit of like attitude almost. And then there were some falsetto moments, I think, at least a couple. And then there were a couple moments where we did like emphasized extensions, let's say. So yeah, again, I'm not a vocal student in any way, but yeah, I do enjoy the sort of flourishes that he did in different ways during the song. It's interesting. You know, I was talking about his vocal work in Too Close to the Sun, and I enjoyed it. You know, I really enjoyed the tune overall. His voice work didn't stand out to me as much as a couple other bonus tracks that I've done recently, but I did enjoy it. And then I was interacting with Izzy, and he was saying that, you know, he's long defended Simon's vocal work, but he made the point that in that one he actually he tries to push it a little too far in a couple places, and that it comes off as, you know, a little flat, a little undesirable. So yeah, that was interesting because again, it wasn't like it didn't stand out to me as much as some other performances, but it didn't quite hit me in that same way. So I'm curious what people might think of this performance. If you think you know, the way he hit those falsetto notes and sort of the emphasis and extensions he was doing sort of worked or not. But yeah, like I said, it's an enjoyable start to the album. Have to listen to it some more to get the lyrics a little more understood. But yeah, I'm enjoying the beginning to the album, so let me know what you think. Other than that, I will see you next time. Peace.